Hello guys, Vertigo here, Ben, and we're doing another flight, yet another one. I'm kind of on a YouTube kick. You can see we're on the ground at Dulles, this time with scenery, the wonderful flight beam scenery. It looks fantastic. And we're going to be flying to Chicago O'Hare today, again with virtual UA. Still pretty new to the VA, but my first flight was wonderful. The A-Cars is great. You should give them a check. Check them out if you're interested in a virtual airline. We're on the ground at Delta 19. Our arrival gate will be Bravo 9 at O'Hare, going up to flight level 380. Active sky weather, rec soft clouds, looking pretty nice. Should be decent weather. A couple things to mention before we get started. Let me see. There's probably a lot to mention. We have an alternate Detroit Metropolitan, DTW. Our cost index will be 17. I'll touch on that when we get into the FMS, but I suppose some more important things to mention, and if I forget anything, feel free to remind me if you have questions. By the way, the call sign is United 1190. Anyway, three things I wanted to mention. I'm probably only going to be able to remember two. Thing one, I realized the past few videos have been pretty long, like an hour-ish. Which is a lot to digest. That's a lot to sit through. People are busy. That's kind of difficult to watch a video through that long. So I'm going to change the way which I edit my videos. It'll be a bit different. I hope it's still enjoyable, but just to try and cut down and make things a bit more digestible. And you'll see how that goes, and feel free to give me feedback. Thing two is I'm going to be using a sound filter on my microphone anytime we're in the flight deck that will make it sound as if you're sitting right there next to me, listening to me talk through an aircraft headset. Again, give me feedback on it. I think you guys will love it. I really think it'll add to the immersion, but let me know what you think. And the third thing, I can't remember the third thing. It might come to me at some point. Oh, I remember what it is. I'm going to be using checklists, both in the Airbus and here in the NGX. So I have a FS to crew checklist that I'll use in the NGX, and I have a checklist for the Airbus when we fly the Aerosoft Airbus to try and add a bit more to the realism and immersion. So that is everything. Again, if I missed something, if you have questions, totally ask. That's no problem at all. But without further ado, we can get into the flight deck and get the aircraft set up. Alright guys, welcome into the flight deck. The aircraft is completely cold and dark at this point, so we'll get some power to it, and I will go ahead, yeah, again, completely cold and dark, so I'll get us set up here, start that process. land, we can run pre-flight checklist. They'll connect the gear. Pre-flight checklist, instrument transfer and display switches, normal auto, window heat. On pressurization mode selector, auto, flight instruments are set, parking brake is set. Engine start levers are cut off before start. Pre-flight checklist complete, before start checklist. Flight deck door closed and locked. Fuel, 17.6 thousand pounds, passenger signs on, windows locked, MCP set, takeoff speed set. CDU pre-flight complete, rudder and aileron trim free and 0, taxi and takeoff briefing. We can real quickly go over that. We're going to taxi up to runway 30 via Zulu, Yankee 11, Quebec, and takeoff briefing. Any issues under 80 knots, we're stopping. Any issues over 80 knots, we're only stopping for an engine failure or fire. Parking brake released.
All engines clear. Start that wheel.
And anti-collision light is on before start checklist complete. So, 2 then 1, starting engine number 2.
And we appreciate your attention as we demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft. FAA regulation requires you to follow the instructions of our crew members and comply with posted and lighted signs.
As you hear the United passenger announcements going on.
Which airline?
Fuel going into engine number 2.
You got it.
It's important to have your seatbelt on at all times. To fasten your seatbelt, slide the metal end into the buckle. Tighten by pulling the loose end of the strap. Lift the buckle to release. When the seatbelt sign is on, your seatbelt should be fastened well and tight across your lap. In case of unexpected turbulence, keep your seatbelt fastened even when the seatbelt sign is off.
Please take a moment to look around in order to familiarize yourself
Good start on number 2.
with this aircraft. This Boeing 787
Starting number
has
1.
8 exit doors for each side of the aircraft. If the doors are open,
Pushing back onto Delta here in the alley, facing the west.
Detached from the aircraft and are used as life rafts. All 8 exits are marked with overhead signs. As you locate the 2 exits nearest your seat, remember, they may be behind you.
Fuel going into engine number 1.
If you're seated in an exit row, you may be asked to assist the crew during an evacuation.
Set parking brake.
Alright, brakes are set. Thanks for the push. We got good start on number 2, standing by number 1. Look for you guys hand signal and see you on the other way.
Look for a change
Or on the way
color
back, I
or
should say.
flag to indicate that you have reached an exit. Leave all carry-on bags behind. Please refer to the safety card near your seat for the operation of the exit doors on this aircraft.
Unlocking gear.
There's a good start on number 1.
Oxygen mask will drop from above your seat. If a strap appears, pull down on the strap to isolate.
Alright, engine gens, APU off, APU bleed off.
Place the mask
Packs
over the
on,
mask.
isolation
Slip the
valve
band
to
over
auto,
the
electric
band does not
hydraulics.
require adjustment.
Propede on, engine start switches
Make
to
sure your mask is
continuous.
secure before helping others.
Flaps set 1 for takeoff. Our trim is 5.24 units.
Pull the tab to remove the pouch. Tear open the pouch.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Slip it over
Check
your
our
head.
flight controls now.
Wrap the
Full
belt
up.
around your waist.
Full down,
Secure it
neutral,
to the buckle in
full
front.
left, full
Pull the loose
right,
end to tighten.
neutral, rudder,
Tighten your vest
full
just prior to
left,
exiting the aircraft.
full
Pull
right,
down sharply
and
against the
neutral.
strap.
Flight controls
You can
are
also
checked.
inflate the vest by blowing into the tube.
And
This aircraft
we're
is
in pretty
also
good shape
equipped
here.
with a life vest, which will be distributed as
We
necessary.
should get their hand signal in just a moment.
Smoking is never allowed
There he
on the
is.
aircraft. U.S. law prohibits tampering with, disabling, or destroying lavatory smoke detectors. Federal regulations also require passengers to comply with lighted
All right.
signs and crew member instructions.
Taxi light on.
For taxi,
Before taxi
take off the
checklist.
landing. Large electronic
Generators
devices
are
must
on,
be turned off
propede
and
on,
stowed.
anti-ice is not required, isolation
For
valves are
international
set auto,
destinations,
engine
your
start
flight
switches
attendants will
continuous,
advise you if it's
recall
necessary to turn off and stow your device.
is checked, auto brake, RTO, engine start levers, idle detect, flight controls are checked, ground equipment is clear, for taxi checklist
We'll be
complete,
taking off soon.
and down
Please
to
remove the
runway
safety
30
card located near
we
your
go.
seat. Stow your tray table, carry-on items.
Approaching the runway, auto throttle armed, weather radar can come on. Engine start switches are already set to continuous. Transponder TA alright. And we will enter the runway. There's somebody landing on 1 center, so we'll make sure he's vacated before we start rolling. Yeah, it appears that he's clear, so we are ready to go. Landing lights, turn-offs, and we will start the clock and get out of here. 40%. Stable. Takeoff. Airspeed alive, power set. 80 knots. Thrust hold.
V1. Rotate. V2.
Positive rate of climb, gear up. LNAV. N1 VNF speed. Speed checked, flaps 1. Bugger altitude on up. And we'll set it all the way up to 380. Speed checked. Flaps up. Flaps are already retracted, my bad. I'm used to having flaps 5. So, little brain fart there. But flaps are up. Gear is up and off. Auto brake is off. Engine start switches to continuous. Autopilot is in. Our lights are now off. We're going to landing lights to 10K. And we're off on our way to O'Hare. Alright guys, welcome back into the flight deck. We're a little over 80 miles from top of descent, so we can go ahead and get prepped and just brief everything real quick. First things first, we are arriving on the Watson 2. It's an RNAV arrival. We're on the Rosewood transition. From Rosewood we're tracking to Fort Wayne, to Span, to Dafe, and let me come down the likes page while I brief this. So Rosewood VOR, to the Fort Wayne VOR, to Span intersection, to Dafe at flight level 250, to Watson, to Haupo at 16,000, to Makita, to Prize, to Hulls at 12,000, to Style, to Dweeb, to Volger, to Cenac, and then we're gonna, we'd get vectors at that point. Onto the approach, we'll do that for ourselves, and if we take a look at the chart, then after Cenac, 270 heading, orders assigned by ATC, expect radar vectors, to final approach course. So let's take a look at just, how that looks, so we get an idea of, when we're arriving, where the runway is relative to us. So if we zoom out on the ND there, and zoom in, let me put the YOCADL away, and then step through each of these fixes. You can see this is how the star takes us in. Cenac, and there's our final fix before we get vectors. And you can see the runway, the approach course for 22 right is out there. So what we'll do after Cenac is we'll just kind of fly a base heading there. So probably a heading of about 300. The approach course for 22 right is 223. So yeah, heading of 310 or so. And then we'll turn inbound to intercept the approach course for 22 right. As far as 22 right goes, let me fix the ND over here. As far as 22 right goes, the frequency is 111.3, the inbound course is 223. Our barometric minimums will be 852. We need to have the field in sight at that point. If we don't, we have to go missed. If we do need to go missed, we're climbing to 1,300 feet and then making a climbing right turn to 4,000 direct to the Dupage VOR. And then we'll self-vector back on over for another try at the approach. Hopefully we won't need to go missed. As far as an auto brake setting, it's a 7,500 foot runway, which is fairly short, so we'll definitely be using an auto brake of 2 full reversers, and we'll need to slow down as quickly as we can. That's not a lot of space. And our landing speed will be the last thing we can calculate. So if we come to our progress page, we currently have 11.6 on board, estimated to have 9.6 at Chicago, which will give us a gross weight of 125.1. So if we land with flaps 30, which is the plan, we'll have a landing speed of 138 knots, and then we'll correct for the wind. As far as the weather goes at O'Hare, little windy, 7-knot wind from 220, but nothing too bad. Good visibility, not a lot of clouds. Temperature is 13 Celsius, so nothing too crazy. Altimeter is 2, 9, or 9 or 6. So again, not anything really out of the ordinary. It should be pretty straightforward. It should be routine. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get the aircraft set up for descent at this point so that we're ready to go, and then we'll run the checklist. I should mention I forgot to do the before takeoff and after takeoff checklist. That was my bad. I'll try and remember those next time. Again, this is new to me, so it'll take some effort. But yeah, let's get the aircraft set up. All right then, descent checklist. Pressurization, landing altitude, 650 feet is set. Recall is checked. Auto brake 2. Landing data VREF 138. Minimums Baro 852. And the approach briefing is completed. Descent checklist is complete. So we'll be starting down here pretty soon and should be landing at O'Hare shortly. speed checked, flaps 30, landing checklist. Engine start switches, continuous, speed brake, armed, landing gear down, flaps 30, green light, landing checklist complete. Field is in sight. And let's try and put it down nice and easy. See how this goes for us. Wait till we get through some of these bumps here. About 1,000 feet. Should start to smooth out. Alright, my aircraft. Flight director's going out. A little bumpy coming into Chicago, as always. It's not exactly surprising. feet, my throttles. Oh, headwind's catching us, we're gonna float it. Plane will just settle. Maybe. There we go. And we're down. Reversers are out. Manually braking. 80 knots. And we'll get off to the left here at Romeo and taxi on in. Yeah, that was kind of an ugly float, but a little bit of a headwind that caught us. Not a huge deal. You'd like to avoid that and hit the touchdown zone, but we just barely caught the touchdown zone there, so we'll take it. Clean up the aircraft.
If you are connecting to another United or Star Alliance flight, please check the TV departure monitors for updated information and proceed directly to your gate for boarding. If you have received your boarding pass with a seat assignment, you need not check in again. On behalf of your entire crew, we'd like to thank you all for joining us in the friendly skies today. All of us at United hope will have many more opportunities to serve you.
Get our transponder and we can stop our clock. That was an hour and 34-minute flight. And we're all cleaned up. We can taxi on in to gate Bravo 9. Alrighty, let's park on up. Here's Bravo 9, here's our gate. FS Dream Team scenery looking nice as always. Brake set. We'll run on the APU gens, kill our engines. Beacon off, signs off, hydraulics off. Probe heat, we'll get rid of our window heat as well. Turn off the yaw damper, turn off some fuel pumps here. The packs can go. Whoa, we had perfect parking. Look at that. He's doing the dance for us. Apparently we parked pretty well. That's awesome, man. Bring the jetway on over to us, and we can, at this point, set some ground connections. Turn on the APU bleed as well, since the APU is running. Hop over to the ground power. We can kill the APU, fuel pumps can go off. And we can open some doors and deboard ourselves. Right, and that's the aircraft cleaned up. Let's run the shutdown checklist. Fuel pumps off, probe heat off, hydraulic panel set, flaps are up, parking brake is not required, shocks are in. Engine start levers cut off, weather radar off, shutdown checklist complete, and that is... Alright guys, so yeah, there's United 1190 for virtual United complete Dulles to Chicago O'Hare. A very fun flight. I hope you guys enjoyed. That was probably the smoothest flight I've had yet in terms of things going as they should. I really hope you guys like the new voice filter. Hope you like the new editing style of the video to try and cut down. I hope it's a bit easier to watch, a bit more digestible. As always, feedback is just awesome. You guys are great. The channel's been growing over the past few days. I can't thank you enough. I have my Facebook and Twitter and Twitch channel where I stream in the description. Obviously, if you want to check those out, it would mean a ton to me. You guys are what make this enjoyable. So, at any rate, I hope you guys enjoyed. I had a lot of fun, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.